Not all Lovecraftian creatures have to be sanity-crushing monsters from beyond the observable universe. Some of them can just be campy or pulpy sci-fi creatures. Hi everybody, my name is Justin and welcome to Game On, a show all about tabletop gaming from RPGs to board games and everything in between. Call of Cthulhu is my favorite role-playing game and there's tons of different monsters and creatures for the investigators to come up against, but today I'm going to go over the top 5 sci-fi monsters in Call of Cthulhu. Ooh, these are campy and pulpy and kind of bringing up some of the images of 1950s black and white alien movies. So let's get into them. Originating from the 1964 short story The Insects from Shagai by Ramsey Campbell, these creatures that I'm not going to even attempt to say the name of are also known as machine bugs or machine insects, and they come from the planet Uranus. Now these are robot-like creatures with different appendages. Sometimes they're drawn as having some tentacles, sometimes they're just drawn as having machine-like appendages. These are a metallic, high-intelligent, walking toaster. And they are very, very cool to have in your stories. It's unknown whether or not these highly intelligent creatures are individually sentient or part of some sort of greater hive mind, but on page 90 of the Malleus Monstrorum, it suggests that they are smart and they can act individually upon themselves. They're also very docile creatures. You do have to make a sanity check against them like you do against all creatures in Call of Cthulhu. D8 is the highest that you have to roll against them for sanity loss. However, I think that if you're playing in later, like modern games, you might not even have to make any sanity because it's just a walking toaster. It's a little bit weird, but we see robots all over the place these days. What's interesting about these creatures is that they're really good at fixing things. Their stat block would suggest that they're good at fixing things. They're not really good at fighting, and they have some armor because they're made out of metal, but they're not really fighters. The reason why you would have these guys in your game is because they are known to be docile and accepting, even harboring refugees from a long, distant intergalactic conflict on their own planet of Uranus. If you're going to use them in your game as a keeper, I highly suggest using them as either like some sort of displaced refugee themselves, meaning that something big and bad is out there, because there's no need for them to come to Earth. They have everything they need on their planet. Or it also means that they could be slaves to something even bigger and scarier that's on this planet right now. So keepers, make sure to use them as kind of a foreshadowing to something bigger. And players, if you see one of these things, don't be too scared, but also be terrified. Conjuring up vibes of head crabs from Half-Life or the movie They Live, the worm that walks is a creepy monster that is disguising itself as a human. The worm that walks is basically a worm, more like a giant millipede or centipede because it's got a couple different arms, that forces itself to stand upright and then wears a long trench coat and tries to masquerade as a human. The reason why I think of the head crabs from Half-Life is because the picture kind of makes it look like they still have that head like crab head and they're on top of some sort of walking body like you would see the aliens do in Half-Life and Half-Life 2. The worm that walks, also known as mind leeches, is found on page 152 of the Malleus Monstrorum, and its stat block does not suggest it's really there for combat. With only 1 point of armor and very little in ways of attacks and maneuvering, these creatures do have the ability to disguise themselves as humans, both with a short-term spell and a long-term spell. So these look like normal people to you and me with their clever disguises and their magic. However, an investigator with the right kind of special device, ocular device, that helps them see them for who they really are, could help thwart whatever plot they're having to take over the world slowly. Now, mind leeches do slowly feed off of humans and their blood and their mind, so they could be using us humans as sort of a farm to farm resources from and then move on to the next planet. investigators are going to have to find out that these creatures are enacting themselves in the big world government, and they have to figure out a way to stop them. Keepers, that's a good tip, and players, if you think you have one of these in your game, try to find those special glasses to help you see them for what they really are. Another 1964 edition from Ramsey Campbell is the Siglo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, also known as Living Sound. So yes, there is the color out of space that everybody knows pretty much, but this is a being that is literally made up of sound. So this being could form technically like a reptilian if they wanted to have some sort of physical form. However, more or less, they are just like sound waves in the air, and it's very hard for us to see them. They come from a different dimension. Found on page 115 of the Malus Monstrorum, their stat block suggests that they're not really good at combat either. They're more or less just entities that are in and around your world. They don't give you much sanity-crushing anxiety. You can only lose a couple of points if you fail against them, but it's not really there for that. They're not there for fighting. They're not there for attacking. They're more or less there as messengers, at least in my opinion. Remember in 1977 when Ohio State used its radio telescope up at the sky and found the WOW signal, which was supposed to be some sort of, they think it's some sort of communication? Well, imagine that WOW signal or signals coming from space that scientists find in your world actually being living sound. And these guys aren't here to attack us, they're not here to hurt us. They're more like messengers saying, watch out, look at what's coming. Part of the reason why we can't decode it, because we don't know what their language is, but they are literally sound traveling through space. And unlike regular sound that can't transmute through space, these are living creatures that can, hence why we can maybe pick up some long, distant signals of sound from other planets and solar systems. Keepers, if you want to use these guys in your games, I suggest using them as messengers, as ways of warning, so that humans and investigators, any creature out there, can understand something big and bad is happening. Hey guys, if you like this video so far, know that we do a live play of Call of Cthulhu on this channel, and if you come and watch our next video, The Dark Streets of Arkham, if you come watch it live or if you come and watch it video on demand, you'll have a choice of winning either a Pulp Cthulhu book, a Call of Cthulhu Investigator's Handbook, or a Call of Cthulhu Keeper Handbook. Your choice. If you're the winner, you get to choose which one of these threes you get. So don't forget to come and watch us play. We will have an announcement on the next game, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, monster number 2 is pulled straight out of Pulp Cthulhu. On page 134, you will see the Killer Robot, which I see being used as 2 different ways. If you wanted to use it as a standard Call of Cthulhu investigator locked room scenario, try doing it on Halloween and running a chopping mall kind of game. I think that would be hilarious. These guys are designed for combat. They're designed in Pulp Cthulhu, so they're going to hit a lot harder than a lot of these other monsters that I have shown you. Actually, every other monster on this list will not hit nearly as hard as a killer robot. But if you wanted to use it in Pulp Cthulhu, I see being used as kind of a sky captain in the world of tomorrow type robots, where they are easily taken down, but they are, you know, still quite scary to a lot of people. But if you got your two-fisted action and your fancy guns and all your luck points, you could probably take it down. It's got laser guns, pew-pew, and it can squish you for 3d6. It's got a lot of armor, can do a couple different attacks. You may lose some sanity against it. You have to roll a d6 sanity loss if you fail your sanity check, but it's really not that bad in the sanity department. What's really fun about it is it's literally just a killer robot, and what doesn't scream early pulpy sci-fi than killer robots? A combination of old pulpy weird science magazine stories and even the X-Files, my number 1 monster is called the Sedicum, or also known as the Fives. Found on page 180 of the Cults of Cthulhu, This creature is called the Five because it has gone through the fifth process that the Church of Perfect Science has done to create the perfect sentient being, taking humans and aliens and trying to smush them together. These are creepy, intelligent creatures that can use alien technology, but also are kind of human, so they know how humanity works. And it's creepy in the fact that imagine being snatched off the side of the road and then being fused together with some sort of alien DNA. It kind of feels like District 9, where the guy kind of unwillingly went through the change to turn into an alien. Willing and unwilling subjects are put through a series of really nasty, creepy, and cool as heck science experiments to turn humans into the perfect being, hence the Church of Perfect Science. Not really designed to fight, but they are highly intelligent, they're good spies, they are pretty strong, pretty smart, good at a lot of different things. They are the perfect human, basically, according to the Church of Perfect Science. But what's also really cool about this is that you can rip them from the Church of Perfect Science and just use them standalone as aliens from Mars. So if you wanted to just do a old 50s black and white movie, Martians kind of movie, these are the creatures that you want to use for that. You can rip the baggage from the cult off of it and just use them as little gray aliens from Mars if you want to. And because that is such an evoking feeling for us, that's how much we really like to think about that in sci-fi. That's why I think the Fives or the Cetacombs are my number one campy, pulpy, sci-fi Call of Cthulhu monster. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. I have plenty more top 5 monsters I'm going to be going over for Call of Cthulhu. If you love Call of Cthulhu content, please make sure to subscribe so you can see more of it. Again, my name is Justin. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to come watch our Dark Streets of Arkham, win yourself a free book, and as always, game on.